день, друзья. Спасибо, что смотрите наш эфир. И мы здесь
Hello, friends. Thank you for watching us. And today we would like to speak about the safe development new challenges of this year.
начнем с того,
And let's begin by introducing each one of you and saying a couple of words about yourself and about what experience do you have in development.
начнем вот.
Okay, let's begin with you.
Меня зовут Раим Лейс. Я
Raim Leis.
работаю в Яндекс.Клауд. Являюсь
I work in Yandex.Pal. I'm a product manager
сервисов и
for services,
безопасности.
security services.
Много, но занимаюсь
Not big development experience, but I'm involved in this
зовут Юрий Сергеев.
quite a while. My name is Yuri Sergeyev. I'm the general partner for Swordfish Security Company. Swordfish Security is the founder and the establisher of this industry in Russia. From the point of view of my background in IT and development,
Плюс лет
20 plus years
работы
when I started working
в заказной разработки Luxoft, где работаю
in a development company, Luxoft, where I've been working with big clients like Deutsche Bank, UBS, Boeing, and right now
развиваем индустрию, где все
we develop the industry of DevOps in this format.
Привет всем, меня Денис Кораблев,
Hi, everybody. I'm Denis Koroblев,
директор и директор
Managing Director and Product Director in Positive Technologies. I have two stories: application security products related to it, and our new firewall MGF.
не относится.
It's not related to the topic. And from the point of view of development, I'm a programmer myself. I've graduated from special faculty for these more than 20 years. I'm programming. So DevOps do have this experience, and for the developers, we do the software developers, developing for developers. Thank you very much.
С самого
Okay, we should begin with the most obvious question. Let's see. Cybersecurity is an industry.
месяца можно уже обратно.
If you will fall out for 1 month, you cannot drop back in because a lot of things are happening there. The intensity is very high. It's constantly developing. For example, 1 year have passed since the moment we've been speaking about secure development last year, about DevSecOps. What has changed in the course of this year compared to the previous year? In the area of safe development, in the area of
Как-то так.
problems with safe development.
2022 год был
The year 2022 was very complicated.
то, что изменилось. Очевидно, что многие
And what has changed, many decisions and many vendors have left the market.
очень много
Many initiatives to create new products were initiated and for the development, and we see it statistically of what is happening in our cloud. I've looked just before coming here, our recent statistics, the number of users of managed GitLab has tripled,
30% из них это
and 30% out of them are big enterprises.
если говорить
At
по
the same time,
потреблению, то
speaking about consumption has doubled
если сравнивать год с годом,
since the beginning if you compare year to year, since the year 2022 if you compare them.
ну, это вот
So this is
касается того, что
what is related to
очень много
what really happens.
увеличивается.
Because the number of developments is growing, and it does happen that usually development and product team pulls security behind themselves. At first, they run, okay, let's develop, and then the security people are getting connected. They're trying to figure out with what is available.
Но сейчас
It was like that previously, but right now it has become even more complicated. Everything is more complicated by the fact that these solutions for DevSecOps, there are less and less of those solutions on the market. And things that we see in Yandex Cloud, it's open source solutions for security.
Я, Володь, для себя попытался немножко
Volodya, I've tried to structure these changes which dramatically were happening since the year 2022 and starting right now. And
можно сказать так, да, то есть
perhaps I can say the following thing. The main driver today on the market, as we see it,
ни для кого уже не секрет, что
it's not a secret from anyone that it is necessary to replace technological stack when we work with DevSecOps clients.
совершенно как бы
It has to be replaced by new solutions, domestic solutions. And this has to be done not just for the sake of doing it. It's not some kind of a paper story. It has to be done practically
количество
because attacks are increasing, the number of attacks is increasing, and the severity of the attacks is increasing. So this is the mainstream. So if we're going to look at this driver, then you'll be able to see
Индустриальный
two main industrial challenges. If you will look at this story from the vendor side,
э,
one of
это
ideas here
задач с точки зрения
and objectives from the point of view of vendor is to
максимально бесшовно, максимально
maximally seamlessly, maximally flexibly lend those products and solutions which have vendor into a constantly changing technological ecosystem of the client, which from client to client is different all the time. Because information security documents, they don't exist in our paradigm as a separate documents because they are always integration things related with development process integration.
технологический стек, процесс разработки.
Technological stack of development processes also goes through dramatic changes. So when you want to bring everything together,
Индустриально сложная задача.
it's an industrially complicated thing. From the other side, from the point of view of the market, from vendors,
По повышению зрелости, да,
to improve the maturity of those solutions and products,
единомоментно стали
which suddenly became highly demanded. This is also not an easy task. But from the point of view of changes, definitely I can tell you that number of solutions is growing.
новые практики.
New practices are coming to the market. There is a bigger demand for new solutions. And from the point of view of client database, we can say that clients, in a good sense, are more patient.
Очень открыты к диалогу с точки
They are open for the dialogue from the point of view of expectations and
качества.
when we discuss quality of products and in the ideology of the roadmap, etc. They are more responsive. Thank you.
Коллеги уже много чего сказали. Сложно,
Colleagues have told us a lot of different things. I'm not going to repeat myself,
что
but I would like to tell you one other thing that due to the situation in the country, because many Western vendors have left the market, security, because of the security, many new products are being developed from the scratch.
отрадно видеть, что большинство
And what is nice to see that most of them are trying to get involved in security from the early stage, and they build this safe conveyor. They try to build this development through the prism of security,
серьезная разница,
and this
потому что раньше пытались,
is a big difference from what was available because the time to market,
сейчас вроде как,
they're trying to catch it up.
но при этом в текущей
And this time to market in the current situation, everybody sees the number of attacks which are happening, and they cannot get away without the security of their approaches.
конечно,
And we, as a vendor company,
в этой ситуации
we became the beneficiary of this situation. Previously, we've been making products in different niches and competing with Western
что в каких-то областях мы прямо
vendors. And in some areas, we became monopolies, but we are trying not to stop on this. And we don't think that we have achieved victory, but we are trying to build some ecosystem,
звучит.
because the word ecosystem we hear from negative connotation. But in our cases, we understand that the number of technologies
Мы можем их
that we have and what can be united, cumulatively, it can give bigger effect, more than 1 + 1 equals 2, but it can be equal to 5, 10, and more. And together with colleagues, we're trying to build these practices and approaches of not just implementing specific products and practices, but do it that get a boost in the security and do so that the product would be more secure on the way out.
горизонты, скажем,
And new horizons are being opened up,
скажем так, и
which makes
быть максимально открытым и отзывчивым.
which helps us to be more open for the demands from the market.
Можно в эту тему, наверное, рассмотреть
And speaking about this topic, you can look at another topic, which is very interesting from the point of view
реагировали на
of how they've been reacting to dramatic changes of our world
последний год.
in recent years. Well, let's remember the word open source. Well, the open source by design means openness. somehow.
Community.
Involvement of the community in the development of different products. So, how, to your opinion,
Сейчас стал играть open
which role is played by the open source today? Well, I understand when somebody leaves the market
из какой-либо страны, в первую
from any country, first of all, they try to replace it by open source solutions, at least temporarily, and sometimes they stay with them. So, what do you think? In these conditions, maybe open source will play a more significant role, and security of open source development will be a separate topic, which we have to discuss right now more seriously.
То есть
Well,
мы это видим из практики.
we see this from our experience,
Огромное
and open source is related to a big number of potential costs which have to be taken in consideration. But
как раз различные.
the first role is given to different service providers, consultants, which are specializing on this. For example, we have a case,
Очень-очень такой показательный, да, после того, как
we have a very indicative case
не только там,
after.
касается не только безопасности,
Well, it's not just related to the security, but many vendors and other projects they have left, and they are being replaced by a lot of different Russian projects. For example, Kazan Express.
это наш клиент.
They had an explosive growth, and this is our client, and they are using
Который есть в облаке,
those platforms which are available in the cloud by adding their open source different tools like Chekhov,
там, Cilium, Kiverna, да,
Cilium, Kyverna, and other ones. All those tools were used to build DevSecOps. And they've done it not by themselves, but for this, they have attracted partners,
вот,
Hubertine, which have built it for them and supported it for them. And it does work.
не так могло быть бы качественно, как если бы
It is not on such a level of quality
и
as if we could use these commercial and tested like application inspector solutions. But at least this way.
что действительно
And it makes us happy that truthfully, and I will support my colleagues, that people,
то есть безопасность становится часть бизнеса. Вот как раз
the part of the business becomes safe. Inadmissible events are protected, and management does understand it. For example, in Kazan Express, and this is pretty good
Наверное,
that they understand it.
ключевых моментов, которые раньше
One of the key moments.
хоть так, да, то есть это с одной
Well,
стороны
let's do it this way. From one side, this is very nice that there is a high demand,
маркет решений,
and the demand for time-to-market decisions where DevSecOps from the side of the business is very big in this moment. But from the other side,
использование open source тулов, на мой
the usage of open source tools, to my point of view,
взгляд, там в ряде
of what do we see on the side of many clients, big and small ones,
сути является
basically
результатом того, что на
it's a result of the fact that on the market in the moment there are no enterprise solutions, proprietary solutions which could close all the needs. That's why inside of the team,
рынке, особенно если
inside of the client, especially if this client has some technologically developed team, there always is a desire and temptation. Okay, we will take the open source, we will do something very fast, and we will solve the problem.
по, там,
However,
опять же, по нашей практике, то, что
according to our experience, things that we see, it's not always leads to expected results.
в случае
In any case,
порой в начале
these are labor
на реализацию там,
not under-assessed for the realization of different practices, closing of technological questions.
как правило,
As a rule,
там, необходимость в расширении команд,
there is a necessity to extend the team, to open integration character questions, etc., etc. So if,
кто
well, in any case, anybody who starts using
технологии на открытом,
technologies
открытым исходным кодом, и
with the open source,
в этом смысле
they,
полный
in
отчет
this sense, they should fully understand,
зрения как бы уже дальнейшего тиражирования, масштабирования таких
then they will have to copy these solutions inside, because this is a very important cornerstone.
кое-что уточнил. Я
Well, I would like to specify something.
там типа
I don't want these to be open source.
в случае наоборот.
No way.
чем больше решений, тем
But the more solutions there are, the better it is. So when I'm saying that, unfortunately, if we're speaking about clouds, about cloud context, cloud native solutions, there are very few of them in Russia. I support you.
тот факт, что
That's why the fact is that
они
there are certain expenses, they are understandable,
вендор-лог,
and you're not just a vendor log, but you also have a consulting log.
берешь open source и
If you take open sources and somebody tunes them up and sets it up for you, well, you are stuck there. And you can add here another thing, that even when you use some understandable solution,
ну, этим решением не закроешь все потребности.
you will not be able to close all your needs for DevSecOps. You will need tools that would control policies of the infrastructure, the network, some other things, hardening of a pipeline, so that there wouldn't be any incidents through it. And here, you cannot do it without open source, and we do see that it's being used more and more.
Сказал, что
And this is to support what you said, that people come from papers to practices.
однозначно так.
This is definitely. Well, for the industry, this is something, well, this is not bad in principle, because these solutions which are created inside of clients, they start competing with proprietary stack,
В свою очередь, вендоров все
making vendors
совершенствовать.
to improve their tools more and more so that it would become more and more competitive.
Врать, наверное.
Denise, you're not going to let me lie,
В вопросе
but
Володи два.
generally,
Первый это
I've heard about Volodym's question 25 years ago about protection of the open source.
вот, а первый вроде разжевали. На самом деле, ну я бы вот
Honestly speaking about the first topic, I would tell you that every time when we speak about our technologies and about how the application spectrum is built under the hood,
на том, что
we make emphasis on the fact that in any technology has a potential, and this potential leads us to the situation that manual work will be done by people after this tool involvement. So we need to build a very simple tool, but then you will overload it with resources. This approach also works, but not very good, and it brings to negativity. It's not scalable, and generally it brings to negative effect and aftertaste, bad aftertaste on the client side, because they think that this is pain and profitable. But it could be pretty cool and nice. And as for the open source defense, that open source is a serious part of any modern software, well, we've heard it last year.
такие флаги, выскакивающие в определенные моменты и так далее.
We've seen different flags, and generally speaking, this was one of the trendy topics of the last year. But there is also a problem related to solutions which currently can solve this problem. From one side, there are different tools which allow us to start working with vulnerabilities, open source, but according to our vendor taste, the final word has not been said.
Собираемся делать. Не будем.
We are still thinking about what are we going to do in this point of view. But the main idea is that
Тот open source, который
the open source that we are pooling with ourselves, this is part of our product,
нужно так же,
and
как и все остальное.
it should be protected as well as everything else. This is a hype topic. It should grow and it requires attention. I support Denise for 100%.
Тогда, когда мы берем open source,
When we take open source and on its basis we start building something, definitely it becomes, well, you become the part of this ecosystem
зрения там,
from the point of view of
строения, инструментов,
building tools on its basis. You are one of its contributors, and you are responsible for the safety of those elements which you undertook, or maybe you give it to the community so that community will develop this piece. But another interesting topic is that when we're trying to solve something, but the clients are trying to solve some other information security problems on the basis of standard, available, accessible elements which are taken from open sources.
с другой стороны,
But where's a guarantee that these information security instruments
в текущих реалиях безопасны.
in current realities will be safe enough, and that they are not solving some third-party objectives, and inside they don't have undocumented possibilities. And we, with the help of these tools, we are trying to close some questions in the framework of critical information infrastructure. But, well, it seems very strange. That's why,
Стратегически
undoubtedly, strategically and industrially, we should have, on the side of the market, first of all, there should be a need, we should be betting for the proprietary stack.
А вот плавно переходя от технологии, ну любой процесс это технологии плюс люди, да? И как бы очень важная составляющая процесса DevSecOps это все-таки те, кто разрабатывают.
Well, these are those who are developing products, this or that way, not necessarily coders, not those who are writing code, but those who are involved in the development. And to my point of view, 1 year ago and right now, we have the same problem, basically speaking. People don't always understand why they need it.
Есть трек для разработки, да, вот шатер.
We have a development rec, for example, the construction bureau, and we have a discussion in the course of the last 2 days. And majority of those who come to listen to the presentations are not developers, as we figured out. These are security champions, which is good if they are security champions
И это как
and developers. And usually these are security people of this DevSecOps. Very few developers, but yesterday I've been communicating with organizer of a very big scope of conferences for developers, and he also was complaining that security is a very interesting topic for them, and they are ready to invest in this and provide events for that. But unfortunately, they do not see interest from the side of developers to develop in this area. And my question
образом сдвоен будет.
obviously will have two sides to it. First of all, to your point of view,
Это разработчиков на
how can we motivate developers that they themselves need it
безопасность.
to dive in the security? And the second half of the question, because this meeting comes to an end, what
Разработчиков,
advice would you give to developers
что вы можете им посоветовать.
out of the most valuable advices that you might have?
Это действительно вопрос
Well, it's a
ответа.
very good question. There is no single answer to these questions.
Учиться разговаривать с разработчиками,
We have to learn to talk to developers in their languages. It's a very common story when
разговаривать
security
с разработчиками, но и
talks not only with the developers but with other
которым они привыкли работать. То есть это там
in the proximity in their own language, risks, vulnerabilities, etc., etc., etc.
ну, то есть
Their own pidgin language. But as I think, we need to build communications on a proper language with those people so that they would understand what is to be done
безопасность именно помогает.
and how security helps them.
Разработчики
Because many developers perceive security as additional work and don't as additional load, and they don't always understand, okay, these are some unclear things. So as soon as they will have future of what will happen if they don't involve themselves in security,
это же всё равно
then
тема
it's
безопасности.
a very sexy topic, security. Every developer, or many developers, they want to be hackers.
Различные сети,
That's why different CTFs, different events like that, training courses, this is all very useful and good.
будем вкладывать.
The more we will invest
Вот индустрия,
as the industry, the more we will invest in different events, the more we will call developers out there, the better it's going to be for us because, well, for the
безопасников,
DevSecOps it has a lot of security guys, but we don't have enough of them. We need to involve more people. And from this point of view, we have launched a training course for DevSecOps. It's a free of charge course, and I'm telling everybody that I'm angry about the fact that it's free of charge. It's a very detailed course, as I recommend. Please come.
сайте Яндекс.Клауд.
The Yandex Cloud site. You can find it.
Володь, немножко поспорю с тобой, как бы
I will argue with you.
опыта, скажем так,
According to our experience,
разработки, он
the interest from the side of development is very big from the point of view of security questions, from the point of view of DevSecOps, this trend. Well, we have discovered this trend approximately a couple of years ago, and right now it has been reinforced. We have a number of clients where we as integrators, as this DevSecOps, we receive people from IT. This is CIO, CTO, people from big corporate clients, and they have an objective of building their own internal digital platform. They have new services and systems with respective volumes, large-scale volumes, and they immediately understand and articulate their demand that we are moving towards digital transformation, and everything we do will have to be safe. Safety equals one of the quality criteria. And such clients, fortunately, we have more and more of them.
С точки зрения
From
мотивации,
the point of view of motivation,
драйвер должен
this driver
изменения в целом, да, в головах.
should be the mental changes in the hands of technical people,
Изменение культуры, но оно
the changes in the culture.
по-своему, но если там
In every company, it happens differently, but if top management is worrying about that,
культуру
if they broadcast this culture and if it's being propagated to the lower level, so this is one of the topics from above. But it's not enough when top management wants. Well, the lower levels have to be supported.
Это такой вопрос,
And this is a question that where I would like to,
Денис.
well, the time comes to an end.
Совсем кратко тогда скажу. Тут в чем история? История в том, что я как бы сам...
The story is that I'm a developer myself, and I do remember all the changes which were happening in the industry in the course of last 18-20 years. And when I was starting programming, there were jokes like, if
Это как бы твои проблемы, потому что метод...
it doesn't work, it's your problem.
В принципе, нет разработчиков.
And right now, there are no developers which are not writing tests and don't think about the quality of their software, because the industry, in the course of these changes, well, it's like a part of the culture, test-driven development, behavior development, etc. And because we have very little time left,
Смысл в том,
and
что
the main idea is that security in the current world is the same trend which will replace this. Like Yura has properly said, security is the level of quality, and this level of quality, everybody feels it on the tips of their fingers. You can see it, you can hear it. And the programmer usually programs 2-3 hours. All the rest of the time works on the improvement of his skills. So when this time will be spent to learn about security, to do security, will start and learn the security, and because of that, he will cost more on the market. It's going to be the cultural revolution that we're speaking about. But we, as a company, we are bringing it closer and closer, and we are working not just on the level of top management, but on the industry through tooling, through conferences that where we are located, through the section that you do together with the guys.
такой эффект.
And cumulatively, it gives you an effect. The faster you will bring it closer, the better security will be in your area. Yeah, I'm supporting Denise in 3 words.
разработчикам
An advice to developers: learn, learn, and learn, and come to PhDs.
Друзья, спасибо большое за беседу. Спасибо большое, зрители, что посмотрели.
Thank you very much, dear viewers, for watching our broadcast. See you next time.